he said, do a Burn in Hell edition of this game.
I would, if I actually had to take course. The shit they give us right these are numbers, not just certain tasks, but also the repetition of all.
Hello that thing!
Most people probably played through the game once, casually, and then didn't pick up the game again. Because of that, I'm going to be addressing this game from a casual, blind run perspective. But I will, with one exception in the beginning, simultaneously in the background showcase what this game is made of speedrun-wise. The exception comes now, where I believe you should watch the following clip indicative of the importance of speedrunning in Sonic. This clip alone doesn't prove the importance of speedrunning across more stages than the first one in the first few Sonic games. However, because the majority of stages across most canon Sonic games allow or even encourage the player to replay most stages because of the grading, as well as the time attacks or time trials, and in this game with multiplayer races, we can assume the creators has intended for players to speedrun. Something worth noting is that I don't mean speedrunning as in going through the whole game at once. I mean as many or as few individual levels you feel like. Speedrunning is already a thing in the Sonic community, judging from Bani's various speedruns of SA2 and Sonic Rush Adventure.
Honestly. That's the thing, I played the 3DS version, and you know, some of the stages are pretty fun. Like, I really love Windy Hills on Act 1, speedrunning through that, but then there's stages that are just bleh. It's like, you don't really want to play them again, and that's kind of the problem with some of these stages. Ooh, I love this music though. That's kind of the problem with some of these stages. It's like, you know, you play through them, they're not terrible, but they're not something you want to replay through like, you know, you would with other Sonic games. Suppose, like, you know, I know not everyone likes it. Like, let me know in the comments below.
Not to mention faults like Darkspine Sonic and Pyrexade. Here's the clip.
そうですね、僕自身が速いものが好きだったっていうのもあるんですけれども、やはりゲームが上手くなったら早くクリアをしていくところができる方がいいんじゃないかっていうのが、その当時のゲームはですね、バックアップとかがなくてですね、セーブができないので、毎回ゲームを始めると一番最初から始めるんですね。今のゲームだと途中から始めることができるんですけど、昔は必ず一番最初からこう始まっていったので、そうすると一番最初のステージっていうのはもう何度も何度もやってくるんです。そうすると上手くなってくると、このステージはもっともっと早くクリアできた方が嬉しいんじゃないかっていうのが発想の一番大きな元になって、そのためにソニックは速くなっていったんですね。なのでそれで速いスピードの中でこうクリアしていくっていう、そこがマリオとかと大きな違いになるんじゃないかと思って作り上げました。
As a prelude to what I have to say about the stages, I want to bring up that I'm not going to talk about the stages I think are already accepted by most players. The points I'm going to cover in each stage are what some call me Johnny brought up. Mandatory wisp usage that causes unreasonable death, monotonous subtasks, long time to complete stages, and at times say something about the speedrunning. Now let's get down to the meat of this video. Skyroad 3. This stage does not have mandatory wisp usage, but it does have mandatory rockets, and the rockets are controlled via the gyro motion controls. The light gyro kind, where you only tilt the 3DS to turn left or right, not the kind where you literally have to move yourself around like the special stages. The rockets are pretty easy to steer, and the level design for the most part suits the rocket mechanic. If your rocket is destroyed before it's supposed to, you can die, but those deaths aren't common. The stage only has one subtask section. It's a battle arena section, and there you get an invincibility to quickly and smoothly kill all the enemies. As for the length of the stage, it took Kobe about 13 minutes to clear the stage, which is about twice the length of a blind run of a normal Sonic stage. Let me tell you something I would like you to recall when you hear the time it takes for a blind run of each stage. If one intends on progressing the story by at least one full new stage on the 3DS, you expect at least 5 minutes to be available to the player. A 10-minute bus ride or a 10-minute break isn't exactly unheard of, so enough time to finish the stage should be available at one sitting. Given my explanation so far, the 10-minute gameplay isn't dragging or bad. This is unless a 5-minute and not a 10-minute periodic sense of accomplishment is important to the player, which, if this is the case, is a point against the game. Speedrun-wise, it's among the best stages of the game because of its clean parkour, its cool and Sonic rocket mechanic, and its interesting level design. Next up is Skyroad 2. This stage does have mandatory wisp usage. It's not controlled with gyro though. It doesn't really lead you to die trying to use the wisp, since the platforms in the stage are pretty wide and you've got a pretty strong double jump. the monotonous subtasks most people would describe this stage is collecting the debris for the asteroid, but aside from the very first section and potentially the last section, you only need a single object turn debris to progress in the stage, and that very first section has an enormous number of enemies to turn into debris to reach the quota instantly, and the last section guarantees your fully charged asteroid a refill as soon as you entered. Kobe just got a bug that didn't get him his refill. If you, like Kobe, somehow end up restarting the asteroid, turning the lone balloonfish to debris could give you enough debris to progress, so that monotony is next to, if not completely, non-existent. While Kobe took 17 minutes, he wasted lots of time recharging his asteroid fully, and got stuck in a section because he forgot the camera can be changed with the L button. That probably takes the stage to 13 minutes, which is about twice the length of a blind run of a normal Sonic stage. Speedrun wise, this stage is pretty fun, not the best, but upper tier. Now, Sky Road 1. This stage has no mandatory wisp usage, but does have mandatory flipper sections. The last one can cause you to die because of a bottomless pit, but the real potential complaint would be to figure out how to get past these flipper sections. Since one is launched just below the ledge of the upper path and not directly on the upper path, why not try using the parkour or the double jump? Since parkour doesn't work automatically, try the double jump. Even if you don't directly reach all the way up with the double jump, there is the safety net of the double jump allowing you to parkour up the wall of the upper ground. There is also ledge climbing that works without parkour. But I understand why these sections would make the stage a mixed bag. What they should have done is allow the parkour to be activated on touch with the uppermost wall rather than requiring a double jump to trigger the parkour. The only subtask there is in this stage aside from the flipper sections, if those are indeed subtasks, is the battle arena sections towards the beginning with all the bird bots, but those are easily and quickly cleared. Kobe took 17 minutes on this stage, and I can't say he played badly. The flipper sections simply needed parkour to work in those upper walls. Speedrun wise, this is among the best stages in the game. The way one smoothly clears the flipper sections is so cool, and the use of the laser wisp is the best use of the laser wisp ever, and should become a recurring mechanics in Sonic games in my opinion, in comparison to the clunky use in the other games. Now on to Silent Forest 2. The Lightning Wisp is mandatory in this stage. While I think the Lightning Wisp is more loose than base Sonic, the Lightning Wisp is kept in check by its own upgraded homing attack that doesn't require a jump before the homing attack itself. The Lightning Wisp is also not forced to platform on the ground, but instead maneuvers in a controlled way by homing attacking target after target. There is one, or arguably two, sections where you have to beat a couple turtles to proceed. The turtles do have enough lives to last 3 fully charged homing attacks. Something that makes this significantly less enjoyable is that the turtles after each fully charged homing attack lie untouchable on the ground for a second, though this is somewhat compensated by the turtles also creating a shockwave when they awaken, so it's not necessarily a snooze fest. All turtle sections in total take roughly 1 minute of 13 minutes, so way more of the stage consists of the speedy platforming. There is also the Lightning Wisp alternate path, and the wisp is unlocked by the time you get to this stage. Kobe got 13 minutes on his playthrough of this stage. Speedrunning wise, this is upper tier among the stages of this game. Silent Forest 1. The stage does have a mandatory wisp, and its gyro motion controls, but the light kind, where you only need to tilt rather than actually move the 3DS. While control wise a little loose, and on rails like Secret Rings but in walking speed, the level's spacious, and the required turning angles are manageable. If I, at running speed, let alone walking speed, can make those turns. And the quake isn't even really on rails, as you can instantly cancel the quake and come to a full stop whenever you want to with the bottom screen. And there are numerous wisp refills for you to pick up right where you left off, in case you did cancel. In terms of subtasks, there are a couple of sections where you need to kill a couple enemies to proceed. In the first Quake section with the 3 chickens, the first hint there states pretty clearly that you can easily damage enemies in an area around you with a stomp. This makes many of those battle arenas short and does challenge positioning, to take out as many enemies as possible with each stomp. Since these sections are cleared so easily, they could hardly be described as monotonous. Kobe's blind run time this stage isn't something to go by, because even when the capsule for the pick 1 out of 3 challenges opened, he kept doing the other challenges and dying and retrying for quite a long time there. He spends 5 minutes more on that section than he needed to proceed. And on the last section, he spends about 5 minutes just dying by somehow being able to not cancel his wisp whenever he's moving toward the edge of a platform, probably having forgotten the wisp cancel actually exists, which is evident in his playthrough earlier in the stage. So while he clears the stage in 22 minutes, he wasted about 10 minutes on things I think most people wouldn't get stuck on, which brings the stage length to 12 minutes. Frozen Factory 3. The stage doesn't have mandatory wisp usage. The stage does, however, have the potentially boring subtask of rolling a snowball for a vast majority of the stage. Kobe's blind run took 18 minutes. I think this stage blind run wise is not on par with what a Sonic stage should be. Speedrun wise, however, it's in my opinion upper tier out of all Sonic stages because of its good combination of creativity in its open world, its length, and its level of challenge. How the blind running could have been improved is to be less about pushing snowballs and more about the Stalker snowball being faster and it itself being used. It would be used to cover up those holes needed to unlock the next section, and add more obstacles to Sonic himself, and perhaps obstacles that require you to successfully lead the snowball to avoid a shattered snowball. That way you have both the speed and the Stalker snowball gimmick. However, to conclude, this level blind run wise doesn't belong in a Sonic game, so in that sense it's perhaps slightly good at best, depending on how open you are to experiences that aren't speed based in Sonic games. Frozen Factory 1. This stage does not have mandatory wisp usage, but does consist of a good amount of snowboarding. The snowboard does have pretty sensitive controls if you only tilt the analog stick to its extreme right and left while holding the run button rather than tilting both forward and to the right and left, i.e. diagonally. Another solution easy to realize and use would be to simply not tilt to the right and left extremely and instead just tilt mildly toward either direction. As for monotonous subtasks, there is the puzzle part in the middle, which you can easily spare time on by just checking which switches decrease the number on the needed capsule, and then putting the snowball on the right switches. I wouldn't call this section monotonous, both because it's rather quickly cleared and because it consists of a little switch testing with the homing attack, and then just pushing the snowballs to the right places. Kobe's blind run takes 13 minutes, but he spends a whole 2 minutes on the switch puzzle, when he could have completed it in 30 seconds. Speedrun wise, this stage is among my favorites of this game. Tropical Coast 3. While the stage does not have the mandatory drill wisp, the stage does have a good sense of speed, and it has good obstacles suited for the drill. There are no gyro motion controls for this stage. In the latter of the two upward streams, there can be some difficulty in getting the wisp refills, and there should have been a pair of capsules each place. There currently is only one lone refill capsule. This would avoid the need for excessive precision. The controls on the drill are a bit sensitive too, so I'd imagine blind run wise this section could become a bit of a mixed bag, as was the case with Bani. However, since there are still a good number of capsules lying around in this section, one could simply let go of the run button to go slower and gain more control to be sure to hit the wisp refill capsules, and of course tilt the analog stick more lightly. In terms of monotonous subtasks, there is one battle arena section in the middle, but that one wasn't all about just killing, but also exploring the enemies needed to kill them. It took Kobe around 3 minutes out of the stage's total 10 minutes to clear that section. Since it's also a bit about exploring and the enemies themselves have a fairly quick and interesting way to be killed, that is, you have to avoid attacking just a second when the mount rocket is being launched, I wouldn't call the section monotonous. Kobe's blind run took 10 minutes. Speedrun wise, this stage isn't among the better ones in the game, but it's good. Tropical Coast 2. This stage doesn't have mandatory wisp usage, and dying in this stage is very rare. As for monotonous subtasks, blind run wise this stage is a better version of the snowball stage because here the running around and attacking picks up a substantial portion of the stage, but the pushing of apples still takes up about half. Kobe's blind run took 7 minutes, so it's not overly long. Speedrun wise this stage is quite entertaining, not the upper tier stages, but is still quite good. Desert Ruins 3. This stage doesn't have mandatory wisp usage. There is a sandslide gimmick for the first half of the stage, but to die there is rare. It also has speed and doesn't require you to stop, but you may want to stop occasionally to look around for the right path to take, since it's reminiscent of a maze. In terms of subtasks, it has one such section, the last section, where you're supposed to kill the worms to proceed. Kobe took 2 minutes to clear this section, but he extends the killing by not using the fully charged homing attack, since the worms move from place to place if they're not killed with the fully charged homing. I can see this section being a bit of a mixed bag for blind runners. Kobe took 8 minutes on this stage. Now, to wrap up this breakdown. Here are the numbers for the good stages versus the less good stages. I'm excluding the stages I assumed most liked. First 5 stages, Tropical Coast 1, Frozen Factory Zone 2, and Silent Forest Zone 3. The blind runs. The good ones amounted to 7, and the less good ones to 3. Speedrun. The pretty good ones amounted to 4, and the upper tier good ones amounted to 6. You may wonder why I made this video. I mainly want to see this game get the appreciation I think it deserves, and for its type of stellar level design to not be ignored by the fans as they tell Sonic Team and Dims how to make good Sonic games. In part, I do this by presenting speedrunning as more integrated in the games than the fandom currently does. If you made it this far into the video, I can do nothing more than express my gratitude and hope that you found your time satisfyingly spent.
As I've stated earlier, I can only hope that future games in the lineup build upon what worked in Sonic Lost World and truly create an experience I can enjoy again and again. I got a feeling this is going to be one of the most polarizing Sonic games in the franchise's history, but I guess only time will tell for that one. And to all those that plan on getting the game, I hope you have a better overall experience than I did for both versions.
You don't even know!